Hello, craft beer friends, and welcome to Season 9, Episode 3 of Tap to Craft Podcast. I am Denny Luce, coming to you from Boise, Idaho, and my partner in craft, the dog whisperer, and my favorite Florida man from Tampa, Florida, Mr. Kris McKenzie. How you doing tonight, Kris? And of course, what is in your glass?
Well, I'm here this time.
Thank you.
That's a good start after freaking last week. But I'm doing really well tonight. And in my glass, I'm actually drinking a beer that was given to me. A friend of mine went to New England, picked up a few beers here, a few beers there. He also brought me back some, Alchemist beers, which I'm always appreciative of.
Yes.
But he brought me a beer from a brewery called Fidens Brewing in Albany, New York. And this is their Use It Up double IPA, 7.9%. Really, really juicy. I'm just starting to this. I've had two sips out of this thing, and man, it's like a citrus little hop bomb. And it's I really like this beer. And
nice.
This was a brewery that my buddy Eric told me. He goes, yeah, it's they don't distribute, and they have phenomenal beers that they put out, and people wait in line to get them. So I understand. So,
okay, nice.
But it's a pretty tasty one. But what about you, Denny? What's in your glass, and how have you been the last couple of weeks?
Well, I did make it through another solo show, and it wasn't that bad. I don't think. I think it turned out well. I do want to thank Eric once again for keeping me company on that hour-long ride of fun talking about my favorite G breweries.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm doing well because I get to chat with you. As we were talking back and forth the other day on messaging, it's a Monday, right? But the best thing about Mondays is at the end of the day, I can sit down, chat about beer, drink beer along with you, Kris. So thank you for joining me tonight. But what's in my glass? This nice beer right here called Soul Picnic from Crux Fermentation Project in Bend, Oregon.
Nice.
It's a West Coast hazy IPA, they call it. So when I got this, I was thinking West Coast hazy IPA. Oh, it's got to, kind of be a little more bitter and maybe give some of that piney notes to it. And it wasn't called a New England IPA. It was called a hazy IPA. So I thought, okay, it doesn't have to have citrus in it. But you know what? This sucker is loaded with juicy and like candy sweet citrus flavors. And I'll tell you what, it's really good. I really like this beer. I picked this up at Costco. It's great when you go in and do your Costco shopping. You run by the beer area and you get to pick up some great beer like this one.
From Crux Fermentation? That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what's my glass, and not quite as hazy as yours. It's a little bit, but it is hazy. It looks good. Tastes good too. All right. Well, hey, let's get this show started. But before we get too far into it, we always want to let anyone new listening to Tap to Craft Podcast know what the show is all about. We are an educational podcast focused around celebrating all things craft beer, because we want to assist you, our listener, along in your craft beer journey and adventures. And you're listening to episode 211, recording on Monday, August 22nd, 2022. Wow, that's a lot of twos in this date.
Yeah.
And we are live on Facebook and Twitter. If you'd like to join us during our recording session, just jump on about 8:30 Eastern time on Twitter or Facebook, and you will see our live stream. And in this episode, we will be discussing an interesting topic that just came to me out of thinking. I was listening to another podcast talking about capital investment companies that are, that craft breweries are selling, or either selling a stake or selling their whole brewery to these capital investment companies. And I thought, wow, what if I had my own capital investment company? What if I came into a large sum of money and I just made up a number, which I think was way too much, but hey, think big. I said, what if I came into $500 million? And I decided to open my own small capital investment company focused in the craft beer industry. And what we're going to talk about is 3 breweries or companies we would like to invest in with that money. Let's say, what 3 would we first start with and how much would we spend? And there are some rules we'll talk about when we get to the Brew Buzz segment, but that is our topic. Very interesting. And I hope that you guys enjoy our talk. And we also are going to have a tasting note segment with the Duvel 666 Belgian Blonde Ale, strong blonde, strong golden ale, whatever you want to call it, as well as Kris and I having some great conversation along the way. And Kris and I would like to thank all of our great Patreon supporters, because this episode is brought to you in part by our satisfied Patreon supporters like Mike Allen, Bill Schlemmer, America, Amanda and Kevin Argauer.
America Argauer.
Yeah. Mark Reedy, Mike Blanchard, Tara Carlson, and Jim Kudzo. Man, this is going to be one of those shows. I'm having trouble talking already, and we just barely started.
Drink faster.
Yeah, but these are our virtual producers. We really appreciate all their support, as well as Tom Byrne, Jeff Seiler, Johan Halberg, Challen Moss, Mark Church, Eric Groundley, and Matt Knight. Hey, they all want to buy us a virtual beer. And if you enjoy the content that we provide, we invite you to support the show by toasting your host or buying us a virtual beer or even becoming a virtual producer. You can explore the options on our support page by visiting patreon.com/tapthecraft. Hey, if you want to give us feedback, we love feedback. We love hearing from you. We love hearing you. You can call us on our voicemail number, 208-536-3359 or 208-53, oddly, if it's easier for you to remember, and leave us a voicemail. Tell us what you like, what we could do better, your craft beer journey, a great beer that you tasted, whatever you want. Just leave us a voicemail, or you can also write us by email at tapthecraft@gmail.com, or if social media is more your thing, we are on Twitter and Instagram at tapthecraft. And of course, we're on Facebook at facebook.com/tapthecraft.
Mr. Chance Haas is on with us too.
All right.
He lovingly served me a couple of beers today. Cheers,
well,
buddy.
Good. Cheers. Cheers to that. Now, we are having a contest. We are our sponsor, FrostBuddy, has provided us with extra FrostBuddies to hand out to all of our great listeners. So we do contests, and our next contest will be in about 2 months. We're doing this a long contest, and it's a long contest because even when I make it long, it's hard to get people to participate. But this is easy to participate. You're already listening to us on your podcast app of choice. All we ask you to do is, if that podcast app has a rating or a review thing, is rate us or leave us a review, and just take a screenshot on your phone or on your computer and email that to us at the email address that we just provided. And you'll be entered into a chance to win it. If you've already left a review on iTunes, just go and take a snapshot of that, send it to me. I'll enter you in the contest. But we really want to get you to leave reviews on Spotify, because we've got a ton of listeners and we're not even rated on that app. And I really want to get a star rating to show up next to our name. And it takes a certain number of reviews. I don't know how many that is. Spotify is a big, giant secret. So go to Spotify, listen to us for a few minutes, and then you'll be allowed to rate the podcast and rate us
with 5 stars.
5-star review. And then take a snapshot of that phone, because there's no way for me to know if you did it or not. You have to take a screenshot and then send it to our email, and I will enter you into the contest. So please, let's do that.
Or, you can send it to us on Facebook Messenger or something like that too. If
or Facebook Messenger. Yeah. Well,
I'll get it.
Everyone knows I have a hard time finding my way around Facebook. And one of the things I have trouble doing is a messenger. I didn't realize I had a message that was from a month ago on there from 2 people. One was my mom. Sorry, Mom. I don't ever check the messenger. And the other one was Dean, the friend I met when I was visiting my buddy Mike. He left a message, and I didn't even see it until I just happened to notice, or either my app updated or something, and all of a sudden it became notice that, hey, I have a message, and I clicked the button, and there it is. So yes, hopefully Kris is way better at that than I am.
Well, Eric Gronley said he's got us covered for a 5-star rating on Spotify.
Oh, Eric, you're awesome. Thank you. Okay. So Kris, let's continue the conversation, because now it is time to untap the craft and see what our listeners are drinking according to Untapped.
I'm still scrolling to the bottom because there seems to be quite a lot of drinking going on today. or in the last 24 hours anyway.
Oh, good.
There's where I stop. So, right. Let's do it right here. We're going to start off with Craig Andrew, who is right here in the Tampa Bay area. He's drinking a Double Universe by Resident Culture Brewing Company. He's drinking that at Mangoes and Marley, a coastal cafe. 4.25 rating for this one. He said it's an 8.5% hazy double IPA, all Citra, hand selected even. So sounds like a tasty beer for him. He's also, and I got to read this one just because it's, such a high rating too. He's also drinking, and it's one of my favorite breweries, Lawnmower in the Office by Corporate Ladder Brewing Company. He said, I guess they don't want to disclose the tasty hop combo, 10.5%. Oh, my brother just got on. He said, I'm the asshole drinking pumpkin beer. I love
it's
you,
that
buddy.
time.
Yeah.
It is that time of the year.
Yeah. I guess they don't want to disclose the tasty hop combo, 10.5% hazy triple IPA collab with Black Stack, 4 3/4 caps for him. On that beer, he did a lot of drinking in the last 24 hours, at least ones that he checked into. Ryan Whedon over in Ohio is checking into a Night Vision by Hop and Frog Brewery at the Zombie Safe House is where he's checking in from.
That's good to know. Is there a pin there we can go follow him?
I don't.
Go be safe.
No, and then you're going to give away the secrets. He said from Saturday, he said layers of flavoring that just kept coming. That's what I like him to do. 4 1/4 caps for that beer. The Gnarly Gnome checking into a few things. He said on this one, on all of his check-ins, no notes, keep the surprise alive. But he checked into 3 beers by Urban Artifact. Or is it just one beer that you checked in 3 times? No, same beer. I'm sorry, different version of a beer. Trick or Treat, the 2022 cryptids. He's got Mothman, Frogman, and Mapinguari, whatever that is. No ratings, only notes that say no notes, keep the surprise alive. Oh, and then also the Jersey Devil and the Goatman and Chupacabra. He's been drinking a little bit. Then Alex Fuchs checking into a handful of things too. He is drinking an Uber Citra by Chateau de Basha at something that I can't read. But he gave it a 5 cap rating, and that's all I need to know. Paul, if you were going to rate that beer on Untapped, he said he's the Greater Pumpkin Heavy from Heavy Seas. It's a 10% beer. What would you rate it, Paul? Because I'll read your check-in too.
It's got to be good if it's 10%, right?
Yeah, but Paul is also the one that learned really quickly about 120-minute IPAs and not to drink more than, one, really.
On a side note, on the 120, is that beer, one bottle, really like $12 a bottle now?
It wouldn't surprise me.
I ran across it someplace on the shelf, and I saw like a $12.99 price tag on one bottle. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I've seen like the 4-packs are $40 for the 4-pack. So that's not too far off.
So that makes sense. Yeah. I was shocked. I didn't think it was that expensive. Okay. Sorry.
So Paul gave it a 5 cap rating. You're good.
There
guess.
You
go. He said $40 to $50 for a 4-pack.
Of the Heavy Seas?
No, it's of the Dogfish Head, the big stuff. He actually, expensive. He actually lives in Delaware, so he's not too far from the brew pub and then also the brewery too, where he is. Kevin Page is drinking what beer is what?
Burial.
Good guess. Is drinking Not a Thing Left to Say by Burial Beer Company. He said more Riwaka equals more better. 4.5 caps for that check-in. Let's see. Next on the list. Let's see. Alex Fuchs again is drinking a Wheat Chi by Clara.
Oh yeah, Clara. Yeah, it's one of the earlier craft breweries in Israel. I'm surprised it's still going.
I'll have to give him a toast to that one. 4 cap rating on that one. I checked into my first Oktoberfest beer today from Barriehaus Brewing Company right here in Tampa. 4 cap rating for that one. No notes though, because I just don't do notes.
You don't have time for that.
Well, don't do notes, whether it's in my check-ins or, on our outline, one of the two.
Yes, that's true. You got to keep it. You got to keep it all the same. You can't be making excuse or.
I got to put my secrets up here. I can't just throw them out all on paper for everybody.
You don't want me to steal them, right?
Yeah. And then let's see. Will D is checking into an Oktoberfest by Three Sons Brewing Company. So he's checking into another Florida Oktoberfest. Those guys are based out of Southern Florida, close to Miami, I believe. Well done. Solid beer, he says. 4.25 caps for that one. William Lake is drinking a Bubble Stash by Hop Valley Brewing. 4 caps, no notes to go along with that one. Let's see. Cheryl Anderson is drinking an Old Chub by Oscar Blues.
We need to do a tasting notes on that when we get done with our Belgian beers.
Okay. And Cheryl said, how have I never checked this in? Chewy,
you probably did.
Chewy, malty deliciousness with the perfect kiss of smoke. I love a Scotch ale, and damn it, do I need one today. Yeah, you and me both. Welcome to the shit show that is my life. 4.25.
Cheers to that.
On that one, Cheryl. Yes, Paul, she said chub. You can tell he's related to me. We're both perverts. Jeff Seiler is drinking a Rakow Trippin' by Heist Brewery. Very tasty, hazy IPA. Nice fruity notes and a mildly sweet finish. I've never tipped a cow. That's just mean. Cows are awesome. They give me cheese. I'll give you that. All right.
And chocolate milk.
Only the brown cows do. But 4 cap rating for that beer. Mike Allen not checking into the Taco Mac in Georgia. He's drinking. Yeah, he's drinking Time is Free, the barrel-aged barley wine non-adjunct by Cherry Street Brewing. And he's drinking it at Untapped at home. So I don't know, maybe the Taco Mac closed or something.
Yeah, COVID.
Oh, yeah. COVID's not real.
Thank you, Biden.
We're about to go down a big wormhole. Paul said he's been watching Beavis and Butthead. Buddy, did you watch the new movie? That's all I want to know. I haven't watched it yet. 4.5 cap rating for this Time is Free barrel-aged barley wine. Bill Schlemmer checking into the double dry hopped El Dorado Vic Secret Double Cream by Phase 3 Brewing.
Wow. Double cream ale?
Does it give us double dry hopped El Dorado Vic Secret Double Cream? As well, it's CREME. I guess it's trying to be fancy.
Like creme brulee.
It's like creme, double creme.
Creme. Okay.
By Phase 3 Brewing, refreshing, easy, and here was the answer: refreshing, easy drinking double IPA.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But 4.25 caps to go along with that one. Chad Lamassa continuing your check-in streak, drinking a pineapple coconut creamsicle by Beer Tree Brew. Pretty close to a pina colada. The pineapple and coconut are blended perfectly. 4 cap rating for that check-in. I got to read it just because of the name. Jeff, I want this label just because of the name. That's all I'm going to say. Jeff Seiler is drinking a Reverse Glory Hole by local craft beer. I don't know if you say this about all your glory holes, Jeff, but it's big, boozy, and sweet and delicious, and a wild ass beer name, he said. 4 cap rating for that beer. That is the Reverse Glory Hole, if you didn't hear me talking about that one earlier.
There's no glory in that hole.
Yeah. Only if it's going in your mouth. Anyway, Art Warcheck is drinking a Curiosity 126 by Treehouse Brewing Company. 4.5 cap rating for that one. No notes to go along with it. Eric Gronley drinking an Astral Queen by War Pigs USA Brewing at the GHQ. Very resiny, piney beer, balanced with biscuity malt. Yeah.
Old school right there. Nice.
Almost like a combo of American and English styles. Very tasty drinker. 4 cap rating. Ooh, I like this check-in from Matt Knight, checking into an Old Rasputin by North Coast Brewing Company.
Oh, yeah.
And just like he said, I'll back him up on this. Classic. 4.5 cap rating. Now, let's hit refresh and see if anybody...
I will say that North Coast was on my short list of breweries.
I didn't even think about them.
Oh, I did. I was, yeah. if we picked 4, they would have definitely been on my list of ones to support.
Maybe that's the last one and the last question.
Well, yeah, it could be. Although the one I chose is an obvious one for me, but maybe it could. Maybe I'll change it up.
The one you chose. Denny, that's what everybody is drinking.
Awesome. I'm sorry that I didn't do the segment last episode, but that's Kris's segment. I have like 300 followers on Untapped, so it's hard for me to pinpoint through and go through a quick day of Untapped check-ins. But Kris, he's got the tailored list, and it's his segment. So thank you, Kris.
Well, you're welcome. While you're moving into this one, I need a new cup because this isn't empty yet, and I'm not getting rid of that.
Okay, well, while you were talking, I just downed mine. So
I'm not downing this one. This one's special. Like,
okay, well, why don't you go ahead and get a cup? I'll go through the Beer Speak 101, and then we'll do our tasting segment.
Let's do that.
Okay. All right. So as I just mentioned, we're going to talk about our Beer Speak 101 segment. This is where we briefly define common and not so common beer terminology. And in this episode, we will explain what it means when we talk about a brewery being a contract, doing some contract brewing. What is a contract brewing brewery? Yeah, we've talked about it before. In fact, Bombastic Brewing is a contract brewer here in Idaho. So I've mentioned them many times on the show. So what is a contract brewery? It's a business that hires another brewery to produce some or all of its beer. The contract brewing company handles the marketing, sales, and distribution of its beer, while generally leaving the brewing and packaging to its producer brewery. So basically, why do people utilize contract brewing? There's a couple of reasons. One is you want to start a brewery, but you don't have the capital or you don't have the capital acquired yet to open up your own. It takes a lot of money. We're going to talk about investing money into breweries, and it sounds like a lot of money, but it takes up to it's about $1 million to start a brewery now. Now you could do it for a lot less, but I mean, for a lot of these breweries that are opening up, they're probably taking loans out for the property, the equipment, the preparation of the thing, and a lot of money they need to gather, and they need to make sure it's going to work or to get it to work. Well, what if you are still working out those details? Well, but you already have some beers that you want to get out there, get your name out there. What a lot of these smaller companies will do is they'll go ahead and hire a brewery that has excess capacity. That brewery that has those tanks and those in the brewery, they may not be running 24/7. Maybe they have they're running 16-hour days, and there's 8 hours of the day that they're not, or 10 hours of the day, or 8, whatever, that they're not brewing. They could then they can either rent out the brewery so that brewers come in and brew on their system, or they can do the contract brewing where they say, hey, here's my recipe and here's my labels and stuff. I want you to package it this way, and I want you to brew it, and they brew it in mass amount, and then they package it, and then the company that hired them goes and does the marketing and distribution and all that of the beer that was produced. So it's a way of producing beer without having to own the equipment yourself. That's one thing, one way of doing it. Another thing is a brewery, like I mentioned, a brewery that recently upgraded their system to a lot of capacity, but they don't yet fully utilize it. They can make some extra money by contract brewing and saying, hey, we don't have enough distribution or whatever to get all our beer out that we have right now at this point, but we can go ahead and utilize this extra time to brew beers for your brewery. And so that's why they would want to do that. And that's what I had on top of my head. I had some other things, but you know what? I think the beer is getting to me. But yes, that's contract brewing. So maybe we'll do a bigger section on this to talk about the pros and cons, and again, go into more detail on why breweries would want to do contract brewing and why other breweries would want to hire someone to do contract brewing. Okay. You got your glass?
I did. I figured it was appropriate to have, a delirium glass.
Well, it's not a delirium beer,
listen,
but
it's as
you're
best
right.
I could do.
You picked the tulip. I picked a Russian River
Ooh.
Belgian glass. What do they call this kind of glass anyway? It's kind of I think I spit on it too. Damn.
I'm glad you spit on it, not someone else.
We've got glasses that are going to do the job. So, all right, we're going to do a tasting notes segment on this beer right here, the Duvel 666. Oh wait, did you have a different beer?
No.
Is it 666?
No.
Okay, good.
I mean,
yeah, look at that.
No.
It's the same beer. Do you have 666 on yours?
No.
What beer did you get? The Belgian? Yeah, it's the same one.
Yours is 666 because it's 6.6% alcohol, right?
Yeah. What is yours?
8.5.
Oh, I got the wrong beer. Hey, you know what? We're going to do two tasting notes segments. One with the Golden Strong at 8%, while Kris gets wasted, and mine, the 666, where I can stay a little bit under the limit and not get so wasted. So I've got the Belgian Strong, and Kris has a Belgian. You have the Belgian. No, I have the Belgian Blonde. You have the Belgian Strong.
I have the Belgian Strong Blonde.
Strong Blonde. Okay. Yeah. So depending on what you guys have at home, join in, and let's go ahead and pour these beers as I dump my stuff all over the place. One thing you'll notice is these bottles are very unique. Oh gosh, mine's foaming up already. These are bottle conditioned beers too, so be careful, Kris. You don't pour too aggressively. You want to ruin that beautiful coloring. But I like that these are ribbed like this because it kind of does trap some of that gunk down below so you don't get too crazy. All right, I'm going to stop there.
That's some good head right there.
Yeah, there's good head. Yeah, there's good head. It's amazing. Our heads look exactly the same. How does is yours darker than mine?
Actually, from what I'm seeing,
yours
looks
is paler.
lighter. Yeah.
Wow.
So mine's like a light straw color. Yours looks a little more orangey.
Mine's mine's golden.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. So mine's a real golden ale. Yours is a fake golden ale.
Oh.
Ooh, wow. Oh, beautiful. The aroma. Okay, so let's comment. We commented on the color. The head is fantastic. It's just bubbling away here. I got the nice bubbles coming on the bottom. You should have some bubbles on yours too, because I think the delirium glass also has this aeration. Are they coming up?
Yeah.
Okay. But good bubbles, brings out a lot of aroma. I get big coriander and strong coriander aroma. What do you get out of yours?
So I've definitely got that clove coriander smell, but I'm also getting a little bit of skunky.
What? There should be no skunk in that beer. That's sad if you got skunk.
It did come from Total Wine and More, so God only knows.
Was it stored in the window with the sun beating on it?
No, it was actually in the back of the store.
under about an inch of dust.
And it says the best before
2015.
July of 2023. So we still got a whole other year to go.
Yeah, mine also says 2023 as well. Mine's August of 2023.
All right, so yours is just a little newer than mine.
Yeah, but it definitely has all the expected aroma you'd expect from a Belgian golden ale. That's what I have, and this is the beer we talked about as far as when we talked about Duvel, we talked about 666. Mm-hmm. But we were talking about Golden Strong ale, so I guess we're talking about the beer you have.
Listen.
We're off to a good start on this one.
Potatoes, tomatoes, whatever.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for this head to die down, but this thing's not going anywhere.
Yeah, you got an ice cream cone right there.
I'm going to have to dive into it and just suck it up. So you ready to dive in and take a sip? Wow, fantastic. So I get the so you know what, I smell the coriander and maybe some clove in there too, but I taste clove over the coriander more. And I think it's because maybe the flavor is a little bit sweeter. It kind of makes it taste more clovey than it does the coriander, because it tastes clovey and bubblegummy, and there's a little bit of pepper in there as well. And it all blend. I mean, it sounds weird. We talk about clove, bubblegum, and pepper, and like, who the hell wants to drink a beer that has clove, coriander, clove, pepper, and bubblegum? But that's what's so wonderful about these beers, is those flavors all go well together and provide a really good beer. How's yours taste?
So it's funny that you mentioned pepper, because I had some of that spiciness in the back, and I'm like, it's not, it's kind of, it's definitely carbonated.
Yeah, it's definitely carbonated. I'm having trouble keeping the bubbles down myself.
But the it was almost like a hoppy bitterness in the back of my tongue too, which was weird to me.
So this is super dry. Even though you get sweetness in your mouth, like you have a sensation of sweetness, I think because of the bubblegum, the yeast esters are giving you a feeling that there's sweetness, but there's not. It's just a super dry. And I think that really, maybe that adds to some of that, hop character and that you're getting, is that it's a super dry. I don't know. Again, I'm talking about my 666. I don't know how yours might be a little different. It might be a little bit more sticky and
it's not though. It's still dry, and it's kind of like that, like when you chew something, like if you chew like a very minty gum, like a peppermint gum, I'm not getting peppermint flavors, but that feeling when you inhale and it makes your whole mouth kind of cool.
Yeah, cooling feeling. Yeah.
But then I still have, there's definitely a bitterness that's just sitting on the very back of my palate that I can't target. And not like, oh, it's hop bitter, because I can taste, maybe some citrus or tastes like resin. Like, it's just bitter.
Yeah, maybe that's how they kind of control the alcohol, not from being too boozy, right? Maybe there is a little bit of a bittering hop in there, or maybe there's some extra yeast characters coming out that's giving it more of a bitter. You didn't pour the whole bottle in, did you? You didn't get any yeast in there, did you?
No, I kept all the, well, I mean, if I did, there wasn't anything in there, because I've got nothing but clear all the way to the bottom, and there is nothing in the bottom of this glass. I was very careful about it, because like when I was pouring my IPA earlier, I started pouring the IPA out, and I can see that at the bottom. I started to see the discoloration from the yeast and stuff that was at the bottom of that can earlier, and I was like, oh, that's where I stopped.
This beer is fantastic. The 666. I'm going to say that anyone who wants to experiment with Belgian ales, a golden ale or blonde ale, you can't go wrong with the Duvel 666. This beer, it has all the characteristics you expect from a Belgian, but not over the top. The bubble, like I said, the bubble gum, the clove, the coriander comes up strong in the nose. It kind of diverges into more of a clovey, like a light clove, and bubble gum flavor that kind of like mellows it out. And then I just get that peppery, maybe the same thing you're getting in your the bitter finishes. I'm getting that peppery finish that makes it that's dry and kind of brings it all together. It's kind of almost like when you have a goza and you get that tart up front, and then the salt kicks in and it kind of like mellows out that, the tartness. The same thing here, that peppery kind of just like mellows out that bubble gummy clove and just brings it together like really, really nice. Mouthfeel wise, feels like a full beer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not light. It's not heavy, but it's not light either. Even though the coloring is pretty light, it has a decent mouthfeel. It it doesn't feel watery. It's not sticky. It's not. I mean, it's got positive mouthfeel traits. Like it's just a good, easy drinking beer at 6.66.
So I was reading, trying to find some information on the differences between the two, and there was an article done by the buyer.net where they were talking about, the new beer, this Duvel 666, like what's the difference? Why did they do it? And they had mentioned that, ironically, the 666 is less strong than many of Duvel beers, and the person reporting, or the person that was being interviewed, said Duvel 8.5 will always be the core beer, but the 6.66 ABV makes it more accessible to consumers intimidated by high ABV beers. Yeah, I mean,
it's only a little bit higher. It's
1.5%.
Yeah, come on. I'm not scared of a 1.5% beer.
Well, and then the next question they asked was, is the ABV a result of a younger drinker demographic, specifically wanting to cut down on alcohol? The response was yes, this definitely played a part in the consideration of a lower ABV percentage. Duvel Moortgat has a range of beers that will suit all types of drinkers, and we felt 6.66 would fit perfectly into the Duvel range, which didn't really answer the question, but hey.
Okay, but I thought in our history of Golden Strongs or Belgian blonde ales that 666 was the original. I guess it wasn't. Maybe the 8% was the original.
That's pretty much what they said.
Okay, all right. Well, hey, that's what it is, I guess. But
so I got the OG. You got the new thing.
Hey, I'm all about new beer.
Yeah.
I'm not drinking all that old stuff. All right, I'll have to get another bottle of that. But I definitely like this 666.
I bet you, Denny, there wouldn't really be much of a difference.
I bet they're the same. I bet they're very similar beers. I'm just shocked that yours is lighter in color, though. That surprised me.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah, yours is yellow and mine's golden.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I give this beer a solid 4.5.
Wow.
What do you give your beer?
I was going to go on an even 4.
4? Okay.
Yeah.
Mostly, if it was a 1.5% lower, you would have given it a 4.5.
Maybe I would have, and that's it. And I don't know. Maybe it's because I was expecting something else. I was expecting more of what I know of Belgian beers. Maybe I was expecting more of that, that clove and bubblegum banana flavor that isn't as prevalent in this beer as I was expecting it to be. And
Really?
I'm going, okay, well, I had this expectation of, A, B, and C, and it's not there.
Okay.
But I don't hate the fact that it's not there. It's just kind of one of those things where I was expecting this and I got that. So,
well, I'll tell you this. This beer satisfied my Belgian beer need. I think it has, like I mentioned, it has all those characteristics but they're not overly. Maybe you wanting something like overly strong.
Maybe that's what it is.
And this is just more. It has it all, but not.
Yeah, it's a little less subtle.
I'm definitely having some bubble issues, but it's more subtle, and I appreciate that because it's more delicate. I even know this is it feels like a beer, like a medium to full mouthfeel beer.
Yeah.
It's not sticky. not cloying. There's no sweetness in it. It has a sense of that because of like I said, the yeast esters, but and it just tastes. It has all. I can taste all those flavors in there. I really like it a lot. And Kris, you should try to find a 666 and see if it has a different feel for you, or if it has the same. I'm curious now.
I mean, if I have to, I mean, I will.
If you have to, just go ahead and do it.
It's for science.
Yeah. Okay, well, that is our tasting notes segment for the Duvel 666 and the original Duvel 8.0% strong, golden strong blonde and regular blonde. Both are great beers. Go out and try them. And in our next episode, we will be drinking the Chimay Red, called the Premier Chimay. You have that one, right, Kris?
I do have that one.
And that's a double style. So so for sure we're gonna drink the same beer next episode.
Unless they came out with Chimay Red and Chimay Red Violet or something.
No,
that I just
it'd be Chimay Rosé.
Yeah. Yeah, it certainly
Don't
would be.
get the rosé, get the regular Chimay. Okay. All right. Well, guess what time it is now? It is time for the Brew Buzz. And the Brew Buzz is devoted to discussing various beer-related topics. This week, as we already mentioned, we're going to pose that hypothetical question of if we came into $500 million and we decided we want to just blow it all on craft beer, how would we do it? How would we invest our money into craft beer? So what 3 breweries or companies would we invest in? Now, I do have some guidelines here, and these guidelines are loose. I mean, you have to have some rules, but rules are meant to be broken. So Kris, if you break the rules, no problem. It's just for fun.
Okay.
But I wanted to make it so that we just didn't like put all this massive money onto a small brewery and blow it up, right? That's not good money management.
I'm just gonna buy AB InBev and call it a day.
Yeah. So of the 3 breweries, I thought let's pick one that's over 50,000 barrels. Let's pick one between 50,000 and 9,000 barrels, and then one that's below 9,000. Now, keep in mind, there's of the 10,000 breweries we have in the States, probably 7,000 are below 9,000 barrels. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of 9,000 barrel breweries, very few over 50 and very few between 50 and 9. So the choices, we're limited. That's why I want to kind of make this kind of fun. So we don't just have all big beers or small breweries. We have in between. Now, how are we going to invest each? I made rules. You can't invest more than 25% of the current estimated value of the brewery. So we don't want to come in and make this brewery no longer a craft brewery by investing more. So we want to keep it at 25%. Also, you don't have to spend all 500 million. We can if we want, if we have the money, and we can do it, but you don't have to. And I want to understand how we would use this money in that brewery or that business to help them flourish and prosper. So that's what we're going to talk about. So Kris, you want me to go first and name my first big brewer?
No, I actually, so what I get, and one of the other things I got stuck on, Denny, is because I wanted to invest in these companies specifically, really for the same reason across all of them. Right? It was really, I can't get their beer. I'd love to have more of it here locally. Okay.
That's okay. You wanted to be able to increase their distribution.
Right. Increase their capabilities and then increase their distribution.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that. And actually, yes, please cover your first one, and then I guess we can just go back and forth and kind of discuss those.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go. Okay.
Because typical to our conversations, you have great notes. I've got little cliff notes. Oh, toss this, toss that in there. So.
It's okay. I put thought into this.
I know you did, and I did too. I promise. I swear I did.
It's okay. Okay, so my first brewery. Now, keep in mind, people may say, what? Why this brewery? Because there's a reason. So my over 50,000 barrel brewery is New Glarus Brewing out of New Glarus, Wisconsin. They produce around 245,000 barrels a year. 245,000 barrels of beer a year. And where do they distribute? only in the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
That is the reason why I want to invest in this brewery. I need to change their minds and get them to open up to distribution ideas where people don't have to come into the state and buy the beer. They can actually get beer outside the state and get their good beer out to more people. So I have some facts here I found in some different documents. So their initial investment back in 1993. Now, remember, I just said that right now it's probably about $1 million to start a brewery. In 93, their initial investment was $237,000.
Wow.
That's 30 years ago and $237,000. So, that's definitely in the $1 million range right now, I'm guessing, or even more. Maybe it's a $5 million range. I didn't keep up with inflation, but that was their initial investment. Their approximate worth, and nobody knows exactly. They were being sued by some of their initial investors. And when they came up with the estimated price this last year, it was like $400 million. But it's somewhere between 200 million and 400 million. So I'm going to say their approximate net worth right now in 2022 is probably around $200 million.
Okay, well, let's do this.
Yeah.
We can have some fun with this too. So what was their initial investment in what year?
93,
$237,000. $237,000. In today's money, according to this website's inflation calculator, we're at $470,000.
Really? That's it? I feel like it's 470,000 like from last year to this year.
See what the news does to us, Denny?
No, my pocketbook. I mean, supposedly this month I should get an extra $100 of spending money because gas prices went down, but I haven't seen any gas prices go down in my area. I don't know about.
You're buying more beer.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's okay. So maybe maybe I'm wrong. Obviously, I'm wrong because I didn't do the math. But okay, so it's only 500,000. We'll just say that.
So $500,000. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so why would I invest in New Glarus? Well, because they are the 12th largest craft brewery in the nation, and they only distribute to Wisconsin. That's why I want to invest in this company. I want to get their beer outside of the state, and I would invest the full 25%, which would be $50 million. So I just invested 10% of my wealth to this beer. And this is my biggest one, right? So this is the biggest amount I can invest is 50 million. And where would I want this investment to go to? I want them to distribute outside the state and build a distribution network. Now, easier said than done, right? There's a lot of complications. I don't know all the ins and outs of logistics. I'm not a logistic guy. So what if I used a big portion of that 500 million to invest into a craft beer rideshare company? That's what I call it, rideshare for craft beer, where we have a networking of trucks and distribution network and scheduling, where a truck can go from one area to another, pick up beer, and people can now like buy a portion of that truckload that's not full to add their beer and get down the line to other states, right? And the states that they deliver to, maybe they can, one trip, 1 month, they deliver so much to one state, and the next trip that goes through, they deliver to another state, right? These trucks will be going all around a planning thing. I would probably invest, let's say 350 million of that 500 million in building this logistics company and making like a rideshare thing for beer, where breweries could just like buy into a trip, right? You say, okay, this truck is leaving California. It's going all the way from California up through Idaho and the northern states and ending up in New York. And you hitch a ride and you pick where you want to go to and how much space you want to take. And then it drops off your load and maybe picks up another load of some other beer in that state that it dropped off, and then keeps going down that line. That's how I would do it. So yeah, that's why New Glarus. I want to drink more of their beer. I want the 12th largest brewery to get outside of the state of Wisconsin. So, Kris, what is your big brewery that you want to invest in?
My big brewery is Fremont out of Washington. Yeah. So mostly because, and again, like I said, a lot of my want to invest in these companies is because I can't get their beer. Right. I've had a fair amount of their beer, and I was looking at their distribution footprint. They only go to like, they go from Alaska, Idaho, California, Colorado is as far east as they travel.
Oh wow!
And
and they're a pretty big brewery.
They are, according to the Brewers Association, they are the 45th largest brewery in the country. So they are one of the larger breweries in the country. So I would want to do the same thing. I would want to actually, Denny, I'd love to plug into your ride share.
Yeah, right? You can invest into my ride share.
And then be able to get that beer further out. Mm-hmm. Because they also have partnerships with like Alaska Airlines, because they have a specific beer that you can only get on an Alaskan airline flight. But they were featuring their Lush IPA on Alaskan Airlines flights, which I thought was awesome. But they're also trying to get into a lot of sustainability and things like that too. So I feel like as breweries get larger and larger, them being a little more sustainable, and I can't believe I'm saying that, but being a little more sustainable it's just going to help them, right? They can do a lot more with, with their spent grains. They can do a lot more with, solar power, and like New Belgium in North Carolina, they're right next to a river. It'd be really cool if they could harness some of the energy out of the river too. So but I wasn't able to dig into a lot of information on, what their initial investment was, but they're producing, according to Wikipedia, they're producing 250,000 barrels a year too.
Really?
As of
wait a minute, that can't be right, because
it was as of 2020 was the again, it's Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So
I think they have the capacity of that in their new brewing thing, but I don't think they're putting out that much.
Yeah, and it's hard to find that.
It is tough. We need John. We should have hit up John to hit his BA account and find out exactly the productions last year of all our breweries. But hey, we didn't want to bug him. He's busy brewing beer.
Yeah, they just had a new one come out in cans too, which I was really cool to see. But I would want the investment to go into distribution. I would want the investment to go into, helping their capacity go up, but also go into their staff development, because that's a huge part about what a lot of businesses are doing now, is because you can develop this gigantic, enormous company, but if your staff sucks, then, well, it doesn't matter what you build, they'll help you tear it down.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, good choice. I love Fremont. I drink a lot of Fremont beer, so that's a good choice. Okay, so now let's talk about between that 50,000 and 9,000 barrel range. And my brewery is Russian River, this glass I'm drinking of right now. I visited the brewery. I love their beer, wide variety of styles, great beer and everything that they brew. I just absolutely love their beer. But you know what? I just can't get their beer, even in Idaho. I live a couple, not that far away from them, but I still can't get it here in Idaho. I have to go drive or have someone bring it back to me. So, and Russian River Brewing, in case anyone doesn't know, is out of Santa Rosa, California. And they roughly produce about 40,000 barrels per year. Their estimated annual revenue is about 40 million, which is a pretty good amount for a fairly small brewery. I'm guessing their worth is probably, with property and the new production brewery they built and everything, is probably around 100 million. They spent just a couple of years ago $50 million on a new production facility, so they have capacity to put out a lot of beer. So why I choose these? Because they make great beer, and I want to drink more of it, just like Kris, right?
Yep.
I want more people to be able to experience it. I don't want people to have to fly out and stand in line to drink their beer. I want them to be able to get it out there and enjoy the beer. And how much would I invest? Of course, the full 25%, which would roughly be about 25 million. And what would I want the investment to go to? Again, distribution, maybe join in my ride share, right? And packaging. They have the new facility, but maybe they just can't keep up with the packaging needs, and maybe they need some more fermenters, or maybe they need some staff, right? Maybe they need to maximize that production capacity. Right now they have the ability to produce this much, but they just can't do it because they don't have staff. So I would go to providing that staff as well. So that's my my mid-size brewery, Russian River. So Kris, what's your mid-size brewery?
So my mid-size brewery was, and I don't know if they're brewing within that guideline, but hey, we're going for it anyway, is going to be Fatheads Brewery, which based out of, I believe they're based out of Ohio now, but from what I read, they started in Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah, they may have.
Yeah, they were in Pittsburgh, actually.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The big reason is just because of their track record. I mean, they've been producing beer since 1992. And ever since I've known of them, which has been, at least 10 years, they've been putting out very good beer, and they've got a very consistent following, and they're continuing to grow. And actually, one of the things that I do like about them is that they try, I guess it's the easy way to put it. They try, like they put a brewery restaurant in Portland.
They did. It's closed down.
It's closed. It closed in 2014. But you know what? They went, let's expand. They threw it out there. It didn't work. They closed it, and then they went back. And it's kind of like the reason I want to invest in them is because they used to distribute to here in Florida until 2017. And the article that I found on them is they stopped distribution in 2017 to, quote, focus on their core markets.
Yeah.
Okay, so their core market was solid. It was good. They were like, hey, let's expand out and let's, try to cast our net over here. It didn't work over here. Okay, we'll come back to the core market. Let's cast our net over here. If it didn't work, cool. They've still got that core to come back to. So they're being smart about it. And I like that. And in all of my investments, especially when it comes to this, it would just be 25%. Just to get into it. And again, help with that distribution. And I really kind of have the same basics on, like I said, on all of them, but the same basics with growing a company is it getting bigger, but developing the people.
Yeah. Get the staff, get the people, get the service. So one thing to note is so far, and I think so far, maybe Fatheads might be the one brewery that we've talked about so far of the 4 breweries we talked about that has the most Great American Beer Festival medals.
Right. They've got a lot of them.
These guys, for years of their different facilities, were pumping out gold medal beers. So they're not slouches. They're making good beers, and they were trying to spread it around from coast to coast and in between, and it just didn't work out. And you know what? You're right. I've only had a couple Fathead beers. I wish I could have more. And like I said, I've seen them win a lot of awards. Fremont's won awards. Russian River, of course, has won awards. I mean, so far and New Glarus has won awards as well. They had a list of things on the website of all the awards they won. I can't even name them all. So all these breweries, and they're really, they're good breweries making good beer, and are worth our investment.
Well, and as I started going through this list, I was on the Brewers Association's website, and going through the list of like top 50 breweries and top 50 producing breweries. And I'm going, oh, I completely forgot about that one. Oh, I forgot about that one too. Oh, geez, how did I miss that one? And I'll touch on a couple of them after we get through this, just to kind of look at the ones and go, oh yeah, that's a good one too.
Okay. All right. So my last one, under 9,000. I mentioned there's probably 5,000 to 7,000, not under 9, maybe 7,000, under 9,000 barrel breweries in the States. There's no doubt anyone that knows me and heard me talk about it, the brewery I would invest in is Jim Dandy Brewing,
Mhm.
100% out of Pocatello, Idaho. I'm estimating. I mean, these are just numbers I just kind of came out. I didn't contact Haley and Davis and Haley Gove, the owners. I don't want to pry into their business, but I'm estimating that their annual revenue right now is not that much, probably 66K. Maybe it's more, but I mean, that's about what what I've seen on the financials, what they're probably about. I'm guessing their net worth is probably less than 500,000. Maybe more, maybe I don't know. I'm just guessing. So how much do I invest? Of course, if I go with the 500K, it's 125,000, 25% of that. I would give more if the rules allowed me. Why? Because I absolutely love their beer. I love their mission statement. I love everything that they're doing with this brewery. Their service has been top notch from day one that I've attended, from the beginning of their start till the last time I went just last month. The service has not faltered at all. They have great service, even though it's tough to get people to work right now after the pandemic. They're struggling just like everyone else, getting people to work. They're trying to hire. They're trying to keep that service. They're still providing fantastic service, great beers, and a great mission. And I just want them to succeed. I want to help them at a minimum get their beer out to more places in Idaho. So utilize some of the, maybe my ride share can focus on just the internal Idaho, routes that can get people, get some of these smaller breweries to get their beer around the state more easily. So that's why, and distribution, expanding their capacity, their fermenter capacity, maybe even, again, they want to keep this small because they want to have a small local. So I don't want to get them outside of their comfort zone, but I think that they can hire on and train other brewers to follow in suit what they're doing, and maybe even run even a 24-hour brewery with more fermenters with the same size they have, and be able to distribute at least within the state of Idaho, and just become, in my opinion, they're the best brewery in Idaho. That's just my opinion. I just think if they got their beer out to more places in Idaho, they could become the, well known as the best brewery in Idaho as far as quality of beer and the styles of beer they put out. So I want them to hire more people, additional brew staff, more packaging staff. Maybe they, right now they have a small little canner. Maybe they, we can go ahead and throw in a little bit bigger system to be able to make that faster and be able to produce more cans, increase their fermenter capacity. That's how I would help them with that $125,000. All right, Kris, what's your last brewery investment?
F.Y.P.M Family Brewers.
Oh yeah, I love F.Y.P.M.
And just, it's really based off of, I wasn't able to dig out any information from them other than just like, the ratings that they have on Google. And by the way, they have almost 1,000 ratings on Google, and they're sitting at about 4.8 out of 5.
Yeah,
which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But just from the beers that I've had from them, that not only have I had from them, but have had gone from their brewery to Tavour, and then from Tavour shipped to me a couple of weeks later. Like, their stuff is quality enough that it holds up through some time and a little bit of temperature, and and it's not sitting for a couple of months, but it's always been very solid. It's never been, oh, there's that off flavor. You always get this flavor when when you're drinking this, or it's always been nice, clean, solid, to the style kind of beers, right? And from what I read on their website, they are a smaller organization. They're smaller. They are, well, they've got the name family in their name.
Yeah.
Right. So I automatically imagine, okay, well, hey, there's, a smaller group. Hey, maybe it's 10, 20 people who are pumping out these amazing beers on a consistent basis. And I would love to see that expand. I would love to see that grow. And I would love to, see those people who are pouring their literal, well, maybe not literal, their hypothetical blood, sweat, and tears into the work that they do, and be able to, relax, right? Be able to take that hard work that they put into it and, do what they want to do with their time, so they can enjoy kind of the fruits of their labor, so to speak. So,
yeah.
But just again, same two things: distribution, staff development are the big things for them. So getting bigger, being able to produce more to get more out, and utilizing your ride share, Denny. I'm starting to see this monopoly thing coming up, but hey.
Right, sure. And keep in mind, they're all refrigerated trucks too. So the beer is going to stay chilled, perfect condition.
Yeah.
This is like high quality, like ride sharing.
But then those prices are going up because, well, fuel's getting more expensive, and then we gotta, but no, and and for quality product, people are willing to pay for it.
Yeah, true.
Usually.
True. Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be my under 9,000 barrel brewery is F.Y.P.M family brewers.
A great choice. Now I noticed, you chose 2 breweries on the West Coast. Yeah. So,
well, listen, I toyed with. I was like, well, what about Firestone Walker?
Or they're already got a big investor,
right? But or I was even, I had a couple of other ones, and I'm like, I thought that same thing. Everything I'm thinking about is all on the West Coast. And I guess it's just because with anything, once you have access to it on a regular basis, if it's not the new thing anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's just an everyday thing. Like, we look at, anything from Cigar City, and while they have a pretty decent footprint for distribution, I've got 3 or 4 years of Hunapoo just sitting in my fridge right now. Like, no big deal, right?
No big deal. I just got a bunch of Hunapoo.
Right. Okay. But it's one of those things where, once you have it and you have good access to it on a consistent basis, it becomes boring. And
that's true.
We all kind of want to go after that new thing.
That's true. Yeah. So people might be surprised that, I picked New Glarus over Deschutes. I think Deschutes is doing well, and their distribution is already really good. It doesn't get everywhere, but it's getting there.
Got one.
And I love that brewery, and it's played a special place in my craft beer journey in my heart for a long time. But yeah, I decided to go with New Glarus just because it's isolated, right? It is that unicorn, right? You have to go to a special enchanted place of Wisconsin to be able to drink the beer or get the beer. Yeah. I want that to be released. I want the unicorn to fly, get some wings.
Flap your wings.
Flap your wings, sprout some wings, and fly away. And that's why I chose that one over Deschutes. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now let's just go ahead and throw everything out the door. No rules. If we could go ahead and pick one brewery that we just bought outright because we just really want this brewery, not that we would take over it and change it. We just want to like buy it out and just have the people keep running it the way it is. Maybe make a couple changes, but keep the beer the same. What brewery would that be if we were able to just buy it outright? So I mentioned that there's 2 breweries. North Coast Brewing, who we talked about, was on my list that I would love to have them. I love the beer they're doing. I love this. I mean, they have some classic beers that I don't ever want to see go away. I drink O Rasputin and Scrimshaw, Pilsner. I drink those beers all the time. I get Scrimshaw Pilsner in 4-packs of 16-ounce cans. Once a month, I buy a 4-pack. I do love their beer. That would be one I would consider buying outright if I could. But the one I have on my list is Reuben's Brews. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I'm drinking too much beer. I can't keep the bubbles down.
Don't you put that evil on me.
But But Reuben's Brews is the one that I would just want to say, hey, Adam, who's the owner, I just want you to be worry-free and just brew great beers. Here, I'm going to buy you out. I'm going to pay you a huge wage. Just go brew beer and don't worry about the business aspect and let him do his thing, because I love their beer. Great beer, award-winning beers, all kinds of styles, English styles, sours, IPAs, lagers, everything. Everything is great from Reuben's Brews. I love the beer. So I would just want to own them and just say, hey, go out and just make good beer. So how about you, Kris? What brewery do you want to buy out?
So I had a couple that popped up that remember I said I was looking up the list of, the top 50 breweries in the country. I did change my answers. I was kind of stuck between three Floyds.
Three Floyds. It was on my, I was thinking about Three Floyds. Yeah.
Which, by the way, Three Floyds is, where to go, the number 24th largest brewery in the country.
Wow. Yeah.
Which number 25, Rheingeist. I had no clue that these breweries were as big as they are.
Yeah. Rheingeist opened that huge facility in that old blimp hangar, right?
It's probably. So Three Floyds, Ninkasi, and again, just because.
So Ninkasi got bought out by a investment company already. So
okay, so I'll take.
You have to buy the investment company. Yeah, take them off.
Okay, well, I'll take them off my list, and what I'll do is I'll replace them with like Trogs.
Oh,
which is the number 20th largest brewery in the country.
Okay.
And then also Allagash.
Yeah. Allagash was on my list, and the only thing that kept me from like being all in is the fact I just haven't had. I've only had one or two beers of theirs.
Yeah.
And I just thought, well, that's kind of. Although I've only had one or two beers of New Glarus as well.
I think I've had two.
Yeah. So I mean, these breweries that just don't distribute too far out, that are tough. They're tough. I feel bad for everyone listening to me talk about Jim Dandy, who will never have Jim Dandy unless you travel to Pocatello, Idaho, and drink it from the brewery. Right? You're not gonna get their beer. And yet they're making, in my opinion, some of the best beer, definitely in the state of Idaho. If not, they're making great beer.
I'm almost really tempted to either the next time you go to Pocatello, just throw some money in your PayPal account so you can ship me some. Or
the problem is shipping has gotten so expensive. You know how much it costs to ship stuff? Even to California is expensive.
Do you know what I did to get this beer label?
I don't want to know how much you paid for that.
One beer label.
$25.
I bought my 4-pack of this beer, and I bought my friend's 4-pack of this beer, and then paid for shipping of mine to my house. I want to try their beer.
Okay. All right. I'm going to Pocatello on Labor Day weekend. I will grab some extra beers. Now, keep in mind, these don't last well because they have this little smaller canning system. They don't last as long as regular canned beer. So we'll have to get them to you, and you have to drink them right away because
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
And if there's any stickers or anything you can grab for me, let me know. I'll get you some money to do it.
Kris, don't worry. I got you covered.
Listen, I appreciate it.
It's just I just can't believe how expensive shipping has gotten in this country. It's ridiculous.
Flat rate is an amazing thing. But anyway,
okay.
But
I'll get the large box.
Look, fill it up. Go ahead. But yeah, breweries that I never even thought of. Like, I was amazed that Great Lakes Brewing was number 22.
So Great Lakes is one that I had on my list as well. The stuff I've had from Great Lakes has been really good, but I just can't get their beer, right?
Right. Deschutes was on there, of course. Brooklyn Brewery, that's a classic one. But like Trogs or Great Lakes, we talked about those. Three Floyds, Rheingeist, Alaskan Brewing Company. And even which I love this one, Gordon Biersch.
Yeah,
number
they're
27.
the problem is that they've gotten so corporate that it's not
Right.
the beer is just not as good as it was.
And this one surprised me too. Georgetown Brewing, number 27.
Yeah, that is surprising. I didn't realize they were that big.
And then Allagash, Long Trail out of Vermont. I've had a few of their beers when I was living in Ohio, but Narragansett, Ninkasi, 21st Amendment, Flying Dog. What are some of the other ones on it? Modern Times,
Well, Modern Times doesn't exist anymore. I mean, they kind of still do, but they sold.
Right. But Toppling Goliath, Fremont, we talked about them, and then Creature Comforts, that kind of thing. But it's just amazing that these breweries are as big as they are. And when I read that stat that you wrote that New Glarus is the 12th largest in the country, we only distribute into Wisconsin.
Yeah, is that amazing?
Mike Wheeler, if you're listening to me, next time you come down to Florida, I need you to find whatever New Glarus stuff you can grab, pack it in your giant Sitmobile, and I need you to bring it down for me. I would appreciate it so much.
Yeah, that 24-foot sit.
Listen, he's got a van that when he comes down here, him and his wife, they bring their 6 dogs because they just opened the location in like Port Charlotte, so about an hour or 2 south of us. So they're coming down and we're working with them and their team. They've had a location in Madison, Wisconsin for the last 10 years. But Florida is a whole different world, which we've had to learn too. But
yeah,
it's just really cool to see all these different breweries and how big they really are and go, wow, like Canarchy, number 6.
Well, yeah, because they're a big.
But that's a lot of conglomerate,
it's breweries,
right?
yeah.
But that's always cool to see. So
okay. Well, we did have I put this out to our listeners, but you know what? There's only one listener that decided to join in and provide her feedback on how she would spend her $500 million. And that was Tara Carlson. Tara responded with her list and says, I would stay close to home and fund Maryland breweries. I just had a doggy style pale ale from Flying Dog, which I have been having trouble finding lately. Everyone carries a high gravity stuff. What a wonderful anytime, anywhere beer. I haven't been disappointed with a single beer from the company, and the Ralph Steadman artwork is always a delight. For their work in fostering Frederick as a beer destination and their defense of the First Amendment, Flying Dog deserves the bulk of my investment at $300 million.
Which they were number 21 on the list, by the way.
Yeah. So I'm glad that she put Flying Dog on here because back in the early 2000s when Flying Dog was in Colorado still, I loved their beer. I got all their beer in Idaho, and Doggy Style Pale Ale was the first beer I drank from them and fell in love with and was a staple of my weekly shopping trip. I just pick up 6-pack after 6-pack of that beer. I've got posters, I've got coffee mugs, I've got beer bottles. I still have a collection of Flying Dog stuff. I do love their artwork. Ralph Steadman's artwork is bizarre, but also awesome. And yeah, I'm glad you would invest in them. I enjoy them myself.
Yeah.
She also says a brewery close to my heart is Moley's Brewery, and I would invest $200 million. It has been
spent.
I mean, again, Moley's Brewery, which no one's heard of except for people in Maryland, getting that much cash, that's a big cash infusement. But that's okay. She didn't know the rules, I don't think.
That's okay.
It has been a pleasure to watch them grow, and it seems their business plan has been solid. And then she says, I would save $100 million to invest in one brewery in Charles County. What is that? Patuxent?
Oh, sorry. Hang on.
Patuxent Brewing Company. They could probably use an infusion of cash to take off the pressure and allow them to refine their beverages. Success may inspire other beer entrepreneurs. I guess the flaw in my plan is I am considering these infusions of casks as donations rather than investments. And you know what, Tara? I think Kris and I are doing the same thing, right?
Yeah. We're not worried about our return on investment,
but we just want them to succeed. So they are kind of a charity as well. They're donations. So and thank you, Tara.
I was gonna say I actually used to live on the corner of Maryland Avenue and Patuxent Avenue.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty funny.
But Tara, I do appreciate you writing in and giving us your list. So thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, that's the end of our segment. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let us know what you would spend your money on. Which breweries? Don't just list 3 breweries that you'd like to invest in and why. That'd be great. We'll talk about it on the next episode if you guys write in. Okay, Kris, you're still writing away on your new and noteworthy. You want me to go ahead and hit my?
Go for it.
Okay. So I have a few beers.
And bubbles.
There's a lot of bubbles in my beers tonight. I've had this whole Duvel and then a couple other beers, and I'm bubbling away over here. But the beers I have to talk about, one from a brewery nationwide. Everyone's had Sierra Nevada. Well, guess what? Sierra Nevada has a fairly new beer, limited release beer that I picked up on sale for $8.99 a 6-pack. You can't go wrong with that, right?
Nope.
It's called Liquid Hoppiness Juicy IPA. And this beer, I gave it a 4.5 cap rating from a new beer from Sierra Nevada. And I really, in fact, here, let me show you the can right here. I just drank one of these. Liquid Hoppiness, 7% ABV Juicy IPA. And I said, this is a great blend of hazy and West Coast IPAs, lots of citrus notes, sweet orange comes out in the finish, some ripe tropical notes too, super soft, creamy mouthful, some bitterness in the form of the pithy peel and zest. I'm really enjoying this beer, 4.5 cap rating. So that's Sierra Nevada's Liquid Hoppiness Juicy IPA. Also, my buddy Alex with Fuchs was here and we went out drinking like we always do when he's here. Don't worry. We're going to go and hit a few spots in the Boise area. We went to Western Collective, and the beer I had there at Western Collective was the F.Y.P.M American Pale Ale. And that's an acronym for
what's the PM?
It's pay.
What's the M?
You know what? I knew what this stood for. Pay me what I'm worth.
Oh no, right? No, this is oh my god, this is Tina's this is Tina's motto. Fuck you, pay me.
Yes, that's it. That's what it stands for. Yes.
Oh my god, no way.
Yeah. So that's what it stands for. Thank you, Kris. I was trying to I looked it up to tell what it was, and I totally forgot what it was in just a few hours because I've been drinking. And that's the way it works. But it's American Pale Ale. And I'll tell you what, man, this Pale Ale was fantastic. What I said about it is a very nice Pale Ale, great mosaic hop flavors. I said, I'm really enjoying this one. Thanks, Alex. 4.5 cap rating. In a time when IPA is a king, I love it when Pale Ales can come out and just knock your socks off. And this one was really good, and I'll pay you for it, which I did.
Listen, if one of these ended up in the box too, oh my gosh.
Okay, they may can this. I had this on draft.
They do. I'm looking at their website now.
Brewery. Okay, maybe I'll pick up one for you so you can get the can out
my
first.
Hero.
All right, the next beer was a new brewery that opened up this year in Boise area called Idawild Brewing. And we had a couple beers there. Alex and I visited there, shared some beers. And the one I want to talk about is the one that I really enjoyed. And it was a Fireside Stout. It's American style stout. And I didn't get a picture of this. Everyone needs to, everyone has a little bit of a thing that makes them special, right? What made this beer special was it's basically like a fireside beer. And what do you do when you're on a fireside? You roast marshmallows, right? And you make s'mores. And this is basically like a s'more stout, graham cracker, marshmallow, chocolate. So what did they do? They poured this stout, and then they went and took a torch on a marshmallow on a stick, and they torched the marshmallow and stuck it in the beer. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't want to burn myself when I'm trying to drink this beer as this flaming marshmallow, but you know what? It made an impact, right? I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. But the beer was fantastic. They didn't need to have that marshmallow. I dipped the marshmallow in the beer and ate the marshmallow, and I'm like, wow, that really went well, with that marshmallow. But the beer was really good. What I said is I didn't get a photo. I took a photo of the beer, but I didn't get a photo with the flaming marshmallow, and it was a nice touch. This is a very well done stout. I taste the chocolate amidst the roast and as well as some caramel. The lactose is mild, adding a slight sweetness that helps bring out the vanilla. 4.25 cap rating on this. I did enjoy this beer. I thought it was really well done. And the extra touch of the flaming marshmallow, hey, I gave it a 1/4 cap rating for the flaming marshmallow. And the last beer I want to talk about is one from Reuben's Brews. We just talked about Reuben's. This is their Northwest, or their Pacific Northwest Crush New England IPA. And this just won not a World Cup, American Cup. It just won an award, a medal.
The beer cup, I think the World Beer Cup.
No, it wasn't the World Beer Cup. I think it was the American Beer Cup. Like one just happened last week. What I said about this is Reuben's Pacific Northwest Crush. Wow, there is quite a lot going on in this hazy. Ripe, tropical, fruity, and slight citrus hops with a smooth, creamy mouthfeel, and it's 7%. No way. 4 cap rating. This beer was 7%, but it drank like it had no alcohol at all. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed that one. So Kris, those were my new and noteworthy beers. How about you? What was your new and noteworthy?
So new and noteworthy for me, actually, we had one of our listeners, Robert Elliott, who's right here in Tampa. His 3 breweries were Hidden Springs Ale Works, which is right here in Tampa. He said he would invest because it's a friend who has done well. Bullfrog Creek, which is because it's local and they always rotate.
We've talked about Bullfrog. Yeah.
And then Kettle House Brewing in Montana. Robert, you couldn't have got any further unless you went, Washington or Alaska. Kettle House Brewing in Montana, because I drank a keg of their cold smoke brew while I was
smoke is good.
While I was stuck there for weeks when my car broke down on a road trip.
That cold smoke brew, that beer is really good. It's a Scotch ale, and it's called Cold Smoke. And I've talked about it on the show, and I've enjoyed I haven't had it as very much. I've had a few cans of it, but every time I've had it, I've really enjoyed it. So nice decision.
It's a good list. It's a good list too, because I enjoy Bullfrog Creek. But hey, new and noteworthy beers, Magnanimous Brewing. Your Critical Haze.
Okay. I like Magnanimous. I mean, they make some great beer.
As a hazy IPA, I had it a few days ago, and it was just citrusy and delicious with no hop burn, it was almost just not bitter at all. Like it was almost like there was no bitterness from the hops. It was very smooth, a little on the sweeter side. I gave it a 4.5 cap rating for that beer. But for the most part, everything that I've had from Magnanimous, they're putting out just phenomenal beers. Good. Next on my list, this brewery almost made my list for companies I wanted to invest in, was Tampa Bay Brewing Company.
Yeah.
Their Transmission Zero. Now, very much like the Critical Haze, super smooth, not very bitter, but definitely had some good hop flavors in there too. And it went down really fast. It was very, very easy to drink. And I was just taking a sip. And then finally it just disappeared. But 4.5 caps for that beer as well. And staying in the Tampa tradition for my new and noteworthy beers, Barriehaus Beer Company, their Oktoberfest, their Martin, gave that a 4 cap rating. I had that today. And Barriehaus is an all lager brew house.
Yeah.
And that's another brewery where any beer that I normally have there is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
That's great.
So those are new and noteworthy beers for me.
Okay, Kris, we got to take a break.
Okay.
I need to go pee.
I'll do the same.
And I don't want to rush our last toast. So let's go pee, take an intermission. We'll be right back.
Okay. How did you get back so fast?
I only have 2 steps to walk to the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
All right. Good. I feel much better now after drinking 40 ounces of water and 40 ounces of beer. I can make it through our last segment. Okay, well, now it's time to raise our glasses, and this is the opportunity for us to give a toast out to who would like to give a toast out this week. And Kris, who would you like to give a toast out tonight?
So it's kind of on a sad note, unfortunately. A friend of ours who I helped work at Zephyr Hills Brewing Company with, Rafael Flores, recently passed away. He was one of the guys that we got to get to know from, well, beer brought us together. So sad to report that, like I said, he passed away about almost 2 weeks now. So I would love to raise a glass to him. I was able to get down there and hang out with some of the guys that helped us help build that brewery and enjoy a couple of beers with them. But cheers to you, Raphael, and may you rest in peace, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember seeing the photos of you guys building that brewery. Yeah. I enjoyed that.
It was a cool place, and we still. I still have lunch with one of those guys at least once every couple of weeks or so.
Oh, so. Good. It's good friendships.
I'm
sorry to hear about Raphael, though. Was he an older gentleman?
He was 42.
So oh my gosh, really? That's way too young. Oh my gosh. That's too bad.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
So what about you, Denny? Who would you like to raise a glass to this evening?
All right. Well, first off, our Patreon toast tonight goes to our buddy in North Carolina, Mr. Mike Allen. Thank you, Mike, for supporting us on Patreon. We really appreciate you. And my second toast goes out to a longtime listener who has been living in Boise for 5 years. And we just now finally made it to where we got together and drank beers together. And that's Mr. Kirk Tabor. Kirk and I met when I think through Untapped, and he was living in Portland at the time, and we were commenting back and forth on beers, and we had a good relationship, and he was listening to the podcast, and he moved to Boise, and we kept saying, hey, let's get together and have beers, and you know how things get busy and you forget. And then COVID hits, and then during COVID, all of a sudden I was thinking, man, I haven't seen Kirk check into Untapped in a long time, and I got worried. And my worry was, oh man, I sure hope that COVID didn't take him, before we got the chance to meet. So guess what? a couple weeks ago, I think it was right before I recorded that last episode. I'm on Untapped, and I'm pretty good at, I'm not as good as I used to be, where I'm on there every day toasting people and checking in and talking to them, but I'm on there. I'm still on there 2 or 3 times a week. I go and I see that Kurt checked into a beer, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's alive. I was so ecstatic that, oh my gosh, I thought he had passed because he hasn't checked on Untapped. His Patreon lapsed, and I thought, wow, something's not right. And he checked into a beer, and then right away I toasted it, and I commented and said, oh my gosh, I'm so glad to see you online. I thought something might have happened to you. You haven't checked into beers in like 2 years. And so he messaged me back through our Tap to Craft voicemail line. So if you want to get a hold of me, we can take messages through our Tap to Craft voicemail line as well. So you can message me there as well. And he says, hey, enough making excuses. Let's get together and meet and have a beer. So we got together and we had some beers together. Not only do we have some beers, but he brought a bag of 6 very special beers from his cellar and gave to me as a gift, because he wanted to share these very unique beers. And I'll tell you what, we spent 2 hours drinking and talking and having a great time. I'm going to have a get together with some friends, and I'm going to invite Kirk over to my place, and we're going to taste some of these beers. Now, some of these beers, we were talking about Dogfish Head, right? 120-minute IPA. And I've had Worldwide Stout before, and it's always been like real boozy. One of the bottles that he has is a 12-ounce bottle of Worldwide Stout. He's been cellaring since 2005.
Whoa.
And he gave it to me. I'm like, holy smokes, this beer is, 17 years old, and I can't wait to try it. He gave me a beer from Belgium when he was doing a trip, in Europe, and he ended up in Belgium and bought a bunch of beer and brought it back. He's got an aged bottle of this very unique Belgian beer that he gave to me. He gave me a couple of old Fremont Abomination beers that were from 2018, I think, or 17. And he gave me 2 beers from Cascade Brewing, beers you can't get unless you're at the Cascade. He got them when he was living in Portland. They're 2017. These are 5-year aged beers. These are all special beers that I want to share with my friends and with Kirk. And so I just want to raise my glass to Kirk and say thank you for getting together. And now I plan on having. Oh, and guess what? After all this time, 5 years he's been in Boise, he lives less than a mile from my house. This whole time, less than a mile, like just 2 blocks from my house. And we have not got together until this last couple of weeks. So I just want to say, hey, thank you, Kurt. And I look forward to trying those beers and having you over and doing some more tastings. And maybe we'll have him on the show. He's transitioned from beer, and he's really enjoying bourbon. So he's becoming a more bourbon guy. Plus, bourbon doesn't add as much to your waistline. We really have to stay fit to keep these waistlines down with all the beer we drink, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And also, of course, being a former serviceman, I always want to raise my glass and thank all those who have served and are currently serving in our U.S. military services, protecting our freedoms, allowing Kris and I to get on and talk about beer. Thank you for your service, and return home safely to your families very soon. And Kris, why don't you give a toast to our sponsor?
Yeah, definitely. Cheers to that. I want to raise a glass to our sponsor, FrostBuddy. They specialize in cooling containers for your beverage of choice. FrostBuddy has the Universal Buddy 2.0, which is the world's first universal can cooler for 12-ounce cans, slim cans, bottles, and even 16-ounce cans. FrostBuddy also has the world's first universal wine cooler, 24-ounce stainless steel mugs, and even stainless steel dog bowls. Visit their website at frostbuddy.com.
Nice. You can find the beers that we mentioned on the show in our show notes, found on the show post at tapthecraft.com. And if you'd like to follow us on social media, I can be found on Twitter, Instagram, and then tapped at Loose Screw. Honestly, You can find me on those social medias. I am spending zero time on Instagram because for some reason my Instagram is 3/4 ads and people I don't even know, and only like one in every 6 images is someone I am actually following. So I'm not doing much on Instagram.
Me either.
And honestly, I've really stayed off of Twitter because Twitter is just a really kind of a cesspool of all kinds of negativity. I try to not be so negative. So if you really want to get a hold of us, follow us on Untapped. I am on Untapped, and I will check into your beers. If you comment on my beers, I will definitely respond back. So follow us on Untapped. Kris, how can listeners follow you?
Well, just like Denny. I don't really get up on Twitter too much either, but if you want to, you can follow me there, Kris_McKenzie 82. But like he said, on Untapped, MCK 1345, because if you follow me on Untapped, we will read your check-ins if you check into a beer within about 24 hours of us recording our show. Yeah, I'm on Instagram too, but I don't really check it either.
Even our Tap to Craft, you haven't been posting anything there either.
No, I suck. We've been more sitting on, honestly, I've been leaning more on TikTok lately.
Oh, so we should start a TikTok, Tap to Craft TikTok?
Sure. I mean, you know what? We can make videos of us just cracking beers and pouring them into glasses, because I mean, that's basically what I do with mine. It's just, it's called Cajun the Malinois. So it's for my dog. And then I'll put random.
So it's your dog drinking beers or what?
No, but he's holding beers. He's holding cans of beers and stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe you'll find us on TikTok. Stay tuned.
Or you can always follow us on Facebook at Tap the Craft.
There you go. Follow us on Facebook.
All things social.
That's right. It is last call. It's time to bring this long show to a close. We want to thank you for downloading and listening. We ask you to please tell a friend, and of course, subscribe and rate us on your favorite podcast app. And as a reminder, we release a new show every 2 weeks. Now go out there and spread the good word of craft beer.
Cheers.
Cheers.